In 1940, a uranium bomb development committee was created in the UK, but due to the constant bombardment of German aviation, the UK was unable to implement its project. In August 1943, Roosevelt and Churchill signed a secret agreement to build an atomic bomb and use atomic energy after the war for peaceful purposes. A group of English scientists in 1943 arrives in the United States to participate in the Manhattan Project. In 1945, Prime Minister Attlee set up a top-secret committee, codenamed Gen 75, for the planning and construction of nuclear facilities. After the end of the war between the United States and Great Britain, contradictions arose in transmitting atomic secrets, so the British had to create an atomic bomb themselves. On October 3, 1952, a plutonium bomb was successfully tested on the island of Montebello in the Indian Ocean. In 1954, nuclear cooperation was resumed between Britain and the United States. In May 1957, the UK carried out the first hydrogen bomb explosion. Since 1961, American submarines began to be based in Scotland, and the United States gave permission to the British to conduct nuclear tests at the Nevada test site. In total, Britain conducted 45 nuclear tests, of which 21 were ground tests, 24 were underground tests. 1952 to 1956, 3 ground tests on Montebello Island, northwest of Australia. In 1953, 2 ground tests in South Australia, at EMU FILD, northeast of the Mariling Range. 1956 to 1957, 7 ground tests in South Australia. 1957, 3 ground tests on the island of Malden in the Pacific. 1957 to 1958, 6 ground tests on Christmas Island in the Indian Ocean. 1962 to 1991, 24 underground tests at the site of Nevada, USA. The United Kingdom has 4 submarine Vanguard nuclear submarines equipped with American Trident II ballistic missiles, one of which is constantly in combat patrol, the other 2 on base or territorial waters, one on overhaul at the naval base baseline north of the city of Glasgow. Submarines are equipped with 16 Trident II ballistic missiles carrying up to 48 warheads. The total number of nuclear warheads of Great Britain does not exceed 225. The nuclear weapons complex of Great Britain is engaged in the development of nuclear reactors, the production of nuclear warheads for nuclear and submarines. Aldermaston facility, created in 1950 to the southeast of London, is one of the main weapons facilities for the design and manufacture of nuclear warheads. The Bergfield facility was created in 1954, is located 8 kilometers from Aldermaston, is engaged in the assembly of nuclear charges. The Cardiff facility is located in the southeast of the country, making components of nuclear weapons from beryllium and uranium-239. The Foulness object is located west of London. This test site, with an area of 910 hectares, conducts tests of explosives. The Sellafield facility in northwest England is engaged in the reprocessing of spent nuclear fuel. The Capenhurst plant produces highly enriched uranium, currently engaged in the production of low-enriched uranium for civilian purposes. The nuclear doctrine of Great Britain is a principle of deterrence by minimal nuclear means, as well as ensuring the collective security of NATO. French scientists before the Second World War made a great contribution to the development of atomic science. In October 1945, General de Gaulle created the Atomic Energy Commissariat. In 1954, France had 2 heavy water reactors. After the Suez Crisis of 1956, when Franco-British troops invaded Egypt, the invasion was thwarted by the ultimatum demanding of the USSR and the USA to stop the aggression. France decided to create its own nuclear forces. The country embarked on nuclear independence from the United States. In 1956, France adopted a program to create strategic bombers and nuclear submarines. February 13, 1960, at the Regan site, the Sahara Desert in Algeria, France conducted the first 70-kiloton nuclear test, 3 atmospheric tests were also carried out there. In 1966, 13 underground tests were conducted in the Hogar region of Algeria. In 1966, 42 atmospheric and 137 underground tests were carried out on Mururoa on the atoll of Mururoa and the atoll of Fantaugaf in the South Pacific. On Fantaugaf, 4 atmospheric and 10 underground and underwater tests. In the end, France conducted 210 tests. France has the following military aviation bases where nuclear weapons carriers are based. Istar, 40 kilometers from the city of Marseille, Saint-Dizier, near the city of Dijon, Luxeuil-les-Bains, naval bases Ile-Longue, city of Brest, base submarines, Toulon, where the aircraft carrier Charles de Gaulle is based, Landivisiau, city of Brest, naval aviation base. The strategic nuclear forces include nuclear submarines of the Trumfian type with 64 ballistic missiles carrying 384 nuclear warheads at the Brest Naval Base. 1 submarine is on combat patrols in the ocean, 2 are on duty in base, and the 4th is undergoing major repairs. The main armament of the M51 missile with 6 nuclear warheads with a range of 6,000 kilometers. Nuclear weapons are fighter-bomber Mirage 2000N, carrier-based fighter bombers Super Étendard, multi-purpose fighters Rafale are armed with bombs, cruise missiles, and nuclear warheads ASMP. After the cessation of nuclear testing and the reform of the nuclear complex, France switched to a simulation program that rests on 3 bases. The Terra Heavy-Duty Computing System is the most productive supercomputer in Europe, the laser complex of the Megajoule class in Bordeaux, and the IRIX X-ray system. The Île-de-France Research Center in the suburbs of Paris is developing nuclear weapons using integrated modeling. The Walduc Center is located near the city of Dijon, engaged in the manufacture of nuclear weapons, the dismantling of obsolete equipment, and the disposal of nuclear materials. Center for Scientific Technical Research Aquitaine, City Le Bar. The city is engaged in the development and supply of nuclear warheads using the latest international technologies. The Graham Center, the largest research center for explosives and electromagnetic phenomena. The Center of Ripoll is located in Tours. It is engaged in research and development of new materials. City of Limay, a suburb of Paris, a research center is engaged in the development of nuclear chargers. According to experts, the number of nuclear charges of France is 300 to 320 units. The system of national security is the doctrine of deterrence by nuclear deterrence. Nuclear potential is kept to a minimum. France adheres to the policy of independence of nuclear forces which are not subject to NATO. On January 15, 1955, Mao Zedong, at the Secretariat of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of China, decides to create an atomic bomb, marking the beginning of the Chinese atomic industry. Great help was provided by the Soviet Union. From 1955 to 1958, the USSR and China concluded 6 agreements on the promotion and development of Chinese nuclear science, the nuclear industry, and the creation of the Chinese atomic bomb. In the period from 1950 to 1960, more than 10,000 Soviet specialists were sent to China. 11,000 Chinese specialists were trained in the USSR. A nuclear reactor with a capacity of 10 megawatts and a kiloton was shipped to China. Samples of weapons and licenses of a ballistic missile R-2 and bombers Tu-16, which were carriers of atomic weapons, were transferred to China. Soviet experts familiarized the Chinese with the construction of the atomic bomb. In 1959, the Soviet Union was supposed to transfer the mock of the atomic bomb and its technical documentation, but the decision on the transfer was postponed due to the deterioration of relations with China after the 20th Congress of the CPSU. The ideological differences of the two parties led to the fact that in 1960, the Soviet Union recalled all specialists working in China. On October 16, 1964, China experienced the first atomic bomb at the Lobnor test site. China became the fifth nuclear power. According to Russian experts, Soviet aid to China has accelerated the creation of the atomic bomb by 15 years. Since 1964, China has conducted 47 nuclear tests, of which 23 atmospheric, 24 underground. The last test was conducted in 1980. China's strategic missile forces are located at 6 missile bases in the country. Number 51, Shenyang. Number 52, Huangshan. Number 53, Kunming. Number 54, Luoyang. Number 55, Huahua. Number 56, Xining. These bases are armed with medium-range ballistic missiles Dongfang DF-21 of mobile type with a range of 2,500 kilometers, intercontinental missiles DF-31, DF-31A, DF-41 from ground mobile launchers, flight range up to 12,000 kilometers. Missiles DF-11, DF-15 short range, 300 to 600 kilometers. There are also ground-based, long-range cruise missiles, CJ-10, Changjiang-10. The strategic aviation of China consists of heavy bombers N-6, Hun-6, the atomic bomb armament, and cruise missiles are a modernized version of the Soviet Tu-16 bomber, Hun-6M, new bomber modification. The newest Chinese model Hun-6K, H-6K, is a subsonic aircraft carrying long-range cruise missiles. China's navy includes 3 fleets: North, Qingdao, East, Ningbo, Southern, Zhangqian. 2 bases in Qingdao, Northern Fleet, and Yulin, Southern Fleet, are used for nuclear submarines. According to the data of 2013, there were 8 nuclear submarines in China. According to 2017, there are 13 nuclear submarines. The most modernized boat is the Jin-class boat, equipped with 12 Julan, 2 rocket launchers with a range of up to 8,000 kilometers. It is expected the completion of nuclear submarines of the new class 096. According to experts, the number of nuclear warheads in China ranges from 400 to 1,000 units. The country's nuclear potential is located in well-protected, multi-kilometer tunnels in the mountains in Sichuan province. China has a well-developed nuclear industry. The Chinese Academy of Engineering Physics, located in Miangyang City, Sichuan province, is engaged in the design and the development of nuclear weapons. It is called the Chinese Los Alamos. The Northwest Nuclear Technology Research Institute is located in Xi'an, Shenyang Province. A multidisciplinary research institution is engaged in ensuring the safety of nuclear tests at the Lobnor test site. Polygon Lobnor is located in the Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region. The total area is about 100,000 square kilometers. The Chinese Atomic Energy Institute is 40 kilometers from Beijing. Founded in 1950, deals with the latest technologies in the field of nuclear physics. The Beijing Institute of Atomic Physics was founded in 1958 and deals with the peaceful uses of atomic energy. The complex for the production of highly enriched uranium in the city of Lanzhou in the province of Gansu. Uranium gas diffusion enrichment plant in the city of Heiping, Sichuan province. The Jiuquan plutonium production complex of Gansu province was introduced in 1967. The Chinese military doctrine consists of the concept of minimum nuclear deterrence. A nuclear strike is possible only after a potential enemy nuclear attack. China is in favor of the universal prohibition and complete elimination of nuclear weapons. Non-nuclear states are the states that conducted nuclear tests after 1967. On May 18, 1974, India conducted a nuclear test in the northwest of the country near the city of Pokhran with a capacity of 13 kilotons. In May 1998, India conducted a series of Shakti 98 nuclear tests, after which the country declared a moratorium on nuclear tests. India is armed with Prithvi ballistic missiles. The launch range is up to 350 kilometers. Agni-2, medium-range ballistic missiles from 2,000 to 5,000 kilometers based on a railway or road platform. Agni-6, with a range of up to 10,000 kilometers, and Surya, with carrying nuclear warheads, with separable warheads of individual guidance. Tests of ballistic missiles are conducted at the Chandipur test site, in a group of uninhabited islands of the Bay of Bengal. Indian Air Force consists of fighter bombers, carriers of nuclear weapons, Mirage 2005, Su-30 MKI, Jaguar 1S. The Navy is represented by 2 nuclear submarines, the Arihant and the Arithaman, carriers of nuclear-tipped ballistic missiles. In March 2019, an Indian anti-satellite rocket hit a spacecraft in a low orbit at an altitude of about 300 kilometers. India became the 4th country after the United States, Russia, and China, which is involved in the militarization of space. Modern India has a well-developed nuclear infrastructure. The head enterprise of India is the Bhabha Research Center in Trombay, where there are 2 atomic reactors for the production of plutonium. Additional sources for plutonium production for the production of atomic weapons are reactors operating outside the control of the IAEA at nuclear power plants in Madras, Narora, and Kakrapar. There is a plant for reprocessing irradiated fuel in the city of Tarapur. Highly enriched uranium for nuclear weapons is produced at the Ratnahala plant, Karnataka. 6 plants produce heavy water in volumes up to 500 tons per year. There are enterprises to obtain pure beryllium. At the Madras nuclear power plant, tritium is produced for weapons purposes from irradiated heavy water. India adopted the concept of non-first use of nuclear weapons, the concept of deterring and using nuclear weapons only in response to a nuclear attack. In 1972, the president of Pakistan, Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, announced a program to build an atomic bomb. The construction of the atomic cycle enterprise began with the help of European, Canadian, American, and Chinese firms for the production of highly enriched uranium. In 1975, Dr. Abdul Qadir Khan, father of the Pakistani atomic bomb, returned to the country from the Netherlands. He accelerated the atomic bomb development program, the development of centrifuge technology to enrich uranium in Pakistan. Active cooperation with China in the nuclear field led to the creation of the first heavy water reactor at the nuclear power plant in the town of Khushab, which made it possible to obtain weapons-grade plutonium for nuclear bombs. The full nuclear cycle infrastructure was created in Pakistan. On May 30th, 1998, Pakistan created a series of nuclear tests with a capacity of up to 30 kilotons at the Chagai test site. According to experts, Pakistan has 110 nuclear charges. The means of delivering nuclear warheads to the target are carried out by strategic bomber and ballistic cruise missiles, an F-16 fighter bomber, and the Mirage multi-role fighter. In 2007, Pakistan adopted the multi-purpose fighter JF-17, developed by a Chinese aircraft manufacturing company from the city of Chengdu. Pakistan manufactures these aircraft in Kumra, Punjab province. Pakistan has short and medium-range ballistic missiles, HATF 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, developed on the basis of Chinese ballistic and cruise missiles, as well as Babur, HATF 7, and Rajad, HATF 6 missiles. Pakistan has an extensive atomic structure for the extraction and enrichment of uranium ore, the production of nuclear fuel, plutonium-producing nuclear reactors, heavy water production, and the production of nuclear ammunition. The country's nuclear doctrine represents minimum nuclear deterrence. In the case of the threat of use of nuclear weapons against the country, there is a possibility to use it. Nuclear research in Israel began in 1949 at the Weizmann Research Institute. In the same year, uranium reserves were discovered in Israel. In 1956, Israel concluded a secret agreement with France on the supply of a plutonium nuclear reactor, which was commissioned in 1966 in the Negev desert near the city of Dimona. The reactor produced plutonium to produce a nuclear charge. In the years 1955 to 1960, 56 Israeli specialists were trained in the USA in the laboratories of Oak Ridge and Argonne. In 1960, with the help of the USA, a light water reactor was built in Nahal Sorek. The USA supplied 50 kilograms of highly enriched uranium for the operation of the reactor. In 1968, France secretly delivered 20 tons of heavy water to Israel for a plutonium reactor. In 1968, Israel and the Federal Republic of Germany concluded a secret deal for the supply of 200 tons of uranium to Israel. In return, Israel transferred laser enrichment technology to Germany and paid $3.7 million. By the end of the 60s, Israel produced from 3 to 7 atomic bombs. In the 1960s, the American company NUMEC illegally supplied 266 kilograms of enriched uranium from the U.S. military arsenals. September 22, 1979, American satellite recorded a small-scale nuclear explosion in South Africa. Israel, together with the Republic of South Africa, conducted a nuclear test. South Africa independently created 6 atomic bombs, which after the collapse of the apartheid regime were dismantled. The Israeli army has ballistic missiles of medium range up to 2,000 kilometers, Jericho 2B, Jericho 3, with a range of up to 6,000 kilometers of mobile and silo-based. The air forces are armed with multi-purpose F-161 Phantom, F-4E Phantom fighter jets, F-16C, F-16D, F-35 aircraft carrying nuclear weapons deployed at air bases, Tel Nov, Hasirim, Ramon, Ramad, David, and others. The aviation has atomic bombs and Popeye 2 and Dalila cruise missiles with a range of up to 250 kilometers. Israel has 3 diesel submarines. The place of deployment is the port of Haifa. Submarines are armed with Gabriel 3 cruise missiles with nuclear warheads with a range of up to 600 miles. Currently, there are 3 submarines on combat duty, one in the Mediterranean, the second in the Persian Gulf, and the third in reserve for exit. The nuclear center in Dimona has several facilities where the nuclear reactor is located. In other buildings, plutonium, deuterium, tritium, and beryllium are produced. There are gas centrifuges for uranium enrichment, a uranium enrichment plant. In Haifa, there is a phosphoric acid plant for the extraction of uranium. A nuclear research center is located in Nahal Sorek. Israel has created reconnaissance satellites of the Ofek type being put into orbit by the Shavit launch vehicle. Israel does not officially recognize the presence of nuclear weapons. Nuclear weapons are considered to be deterrent weapons. The use of nuclear weapons is not excluded. According to experts, Israel has from 100 to 200 nuclear charges. After the end of the Korean War of 1950 to 1953, when there was a threat of the use of an atomic bomb by the United States against North Korea, the country began to look for its own way of creating an atomic bomb. In 1959, an agreement was signed with the Soviet Union on cooperation in the field of the peaceful atom. In 1964, with the help of the Soviet Union, a research center was established in Yongbyon. In 1965, a Soviet light water reactor was installed in Yongbyon. In 1974, the country joined the IAEA. In 1985, a gas graphite reactor was commissioned, which could produce weapons-grade plutonium. In 1985 and 1989, construction began on 2 more gas graphite reactors. In 1992, IAEA inspections began in the country, which raised doubts in the peaceful program of the North Korean nuclear industry. In 1994, the country left the IAEA. There was an aggravation of political relations with the USA. The United States accused North Korea of enriching uranium for the creation of nuclear weapons and included the country in the list of rogue states. In 2003, North Korea began negotiations with the participation of China, the United States, Russia, Japan, and South Korea on its nuclear program that did not bring results. The United States and Japan demanded the complete elimination of nuclear facilities under the control of the IAEA, to which North Korea refused. February 10, 2005, North Korea announced the creation of a nuclear weapon in the country. On October 3, 2006, North Korea conducted a 5 to 10 kiloton underground nuclear test at a test site in the northwest of the country. On May 25, 2005, North Korea conducted its second nuclear test. In February 2013, the third underground nuclear test was conducted. On January 6, 2016, the fourth nuclear test was conducted. In September 2016, the fifth trial was conducted. The country's nuclear infrastructure includes 22 facilities. These are uranium mines, mining and chemical enterprises for the production of nuclear fuel and reprocessing of spent nuclear fuel research centers. According to experts, the country can create 10 nuclear charges. The country has 2 missile test sites, Musudan and Tonchon, on the shores of the Yellow Sea and the Sea of Japan, from which satellites have been launched since 2006 with the help of Inha-2, Inha-3, Tepsodon-2, Pektusan-1 missiles. According to experts, the purpose of satellite launches is testing of ballistic missiles. There are Tepchodon-1 and Tepchodon-2 missiles with a range of up to 3,000 kilometers. Nodon-1, range up to 3,000 kilometers. The military doctrine of North Korea adheres to the principle of non-use of nuclear weapons against non-nuclear states, and its application in the case of aggression of other states. The use of nuclear weapons is a threat to the existence of mankind. On the other hand, nuclear weapons are a weapon of deterring and preserving the sovereignty of countries and maintaining political stability on the planet for 70 years.